Maxie, and you're watching TIGR Reviews on the Indie Game Report. Today we are typing our way to victory in a letter drafting card game called Movable Type by Rob and David. In Movable Type, players are drafting letter cards in hopes of spelling the most valuable word each round. Whoever does spell the most valuable word each round will get first dibs of cards on the table to be used in spelling a word for the final round. Whichever player spells the most valuable word in the final round is the winner of Movable Type. Let's go check out a game which I really enjoyed playing, and I am not very good at winning. Movable Type. Welcome to Movable Type. During all rounds but the final one of the game, players will draft letter cards trying to spell the highest valued word each round so they can have first choice of the cards out on the table to collect. Players will collect cards during the beginning rounds to use for the final round, in which they will spell one final word. Whichever player spells the most valuable word in the final round is a winner of Movable Type. Each round but the last begins with the draft phase. Players will take a card from their hand of 5 cards to use for the round's word and scoring phases, and will either pass the remaining cards to the left or to the right, depending on which round it is. After passing their hand and receiving a new hand of 4 cards, all players will take 1 card from this new hand and will place it with their cards set aside from the first hand. Again, depending on which round they are in, they will keep passing their hands to the left or to the right and will receive a new hand of 3 cards. Players will continue until they have drafted all 5 cards. Once everyone has 5 cards, players move into the word phase. Trying to spell the best word they can, players use the letters in their hand and may also use any of the 3 common letter cards laid on the table to create their word. Players may also use a letter card as a double if the letter card would appear twice in succession. For example, if spelling the word street, a player may use only one E as though it were 2. If she doesn't get double scoring for the E card. Once all players have figured out the word they wish to spell, they reveal them and enter the scoring phase. The value of each player's word is the sum of the numbers on the letter cards. Before claiming cards, if a player meets the requirements for a face-up author challenge card, she may take that card. Author challenge cards may provide extra letters to the player for the final round, or special actions depending on the author. After author challenge cards are claimed, more are revealed from the deck, so 4 are shown for the next round. Next, players determine who has the highest valued word. The player with the highest valued word comes in first place for the round, and the first place player gets to choose 2 letter cards from the table to use for the final round. Once she has chosen her 2 cards, she places them into a personal collection for the final round. She cannot look at her personal collection until the final round. The player whose word scored second highest in the round gets to select either 2 cards for a 3 to 4 player game or 1 card for a 2-player game. She too places her chosen cards or card into her personal collection. Once all players have selected the cards they would like for the final round and have placed them into their personal collections, the round is over. All the letter cards not selected are rounded up and shuffled. 3 new common letter cards are placed, and each player is dealt a new hand of 5 cards. The new round will have drafting in a different direction and will play the same way. Once players get to the 5th and final round, they do not get a hand of cards. Instead, they reveal their personal collections and attempt to spell a word using their collections and any of the 3 common cards for the 5th round. Players reveal their final word, and whichever player has the highest scoring word is pronounced the winner of Movable Type. There are a lot of reasons why I enjoyed Movable Type, and I'm going to start with aesthetics. First, the game comes in a box that looks like a book, which is really neat. The edges kind of look like pages, and while the box doesn't open like a book, it does wrap really well with the theme of the game. The font and the graphic art on the cards really give this game a very classic feeling. The cards have calligraphy on them, and the author challenge cards, the sketches of them are just very traditional looking, and it works, again, really well with a theme about typing and typewriting. Also, which I didn't show in the video, if you lay the letter cards out in order, they make a rainbow, which is just a fun little addition to the game that doesn't really go with the theme, but I thought was fun regardless. Overall, I found the aesthetics to work really well together, and everything just kind of came together really well to wrap the theme all up. So I give at least the aesthetics an A+. Now let's talk about the mechanics. There are 2 mechanics that I feel the game really focuses on: drafting and memory. Drafting obviously in all but the final rounds, because players are drafting letter cards trying to spell their word. But the memory part, I think, really comes into play with just really honestly with the final round. If you're not good at remembering the cards that you've been saving throughout the game, when you get to the final round, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna spell. So if you are not flexible and you're not the best speller, and you can't remember the letters that you're setting aside, you're probably not going to do very well in the final round. But because you are drafting cards in the first couple of rounds, you do have control over what cards you're going to collect to spell for those rounds. And if you are doing really well in those rounds, you'll have a little more choice of the cards that you're going to save for the final round. So you do have some control over how flexible you're going to make your final round cards be, because you're the one choosing which cards you want to collect. But if you're focusing on one word and you're trying really hard to get that one word in the final round, you're probably gonna have a really tough time doing it. So because of that, I did not find this game to be one of the more easier spelling games that I have come across, because you do have a limited amount of cards that you can choose from to spell with. And because in the final round, you really, like I said, you really have to be flexible with the cards that you've set aside and how you're going to use them to spell your final word. So overall, I find this game to be slightly difficult for those that aren't really good at spelling or memorizing. But if you're good at either one of them, you'll probably do really good with this game. So overall, the mechanics of Movable Type are really easy to understand and to play through. I just really think that the game would be a lot easier for players that are good at memory and are good at spelling. There's one final thing in the game that I didn't talk about that I wanted to bring up, and that was the author challenge cards. I thought that the choice of the authors was really cool, and some of the authors worked well with their mechanics, like Oscar Wilde. If you collect that author challenge card, it gives you a wild letter. And I thought that was kind of fun to throw in the game. To sum up, I thought Movable Type was a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm not good at remembering the letter cards that I set aside, and I'm not the best speller, but I do try to be really flexible and just rattle my brain for something that I could come up with each round, and I had a good time doing it. If you think that you would like to add Movable Type to your collection, there is information about the game down below. If you like this video, please feel free to leave a comment or subscribe, and you can find more information about the Indie Game Report at our website down below. Thanks for watching. I'm Cassie on TIGR Reviews, signing out with Movable Type by Robin David.